Hi everybody, it's Barry here again from Turning the Page, and welcome to another weekly episode of Turning the Page blog. And I'm just going to be myself. I'm tired of listening to all the experts and so on about what you should do and what you should do, not do on podcasts and YouTubers. I'm just going to be me, and I hope you like it. I just want to present, really sort of helpful content in a pretty low-key way, in a way that really connects with you and where you're at and what you're up to. So this week's topic is, can anything good come from this? And I was raised on a farm, sheep and beef farm, near a very small town called Wellsford here in New Zealand. And in fact, my ancestors settled there in the 1860s. They migrated out from England on the big sailing ships and settled there and developed a farm and all the rest of it. And quite an amazing story, really. But through this town of Wellsford, and still to this day, runs a very busy road, and it actually went right through the middle of our farm as well. And this busy road takes traffic from sort of the south of New Zealand to the very far north. And the very far north of New Zealand is actually, I suppose, quite a poorer area of our country. There's a lot more unemployment, and it's a place where you go to, but you don't go through, because there's nothing happy, nothing to go through it too, except the Pacific Ocean. So it's a very poor area, but it's also, Northland is a beautiful area. It's got amazing beaches and scenery. You just go, wow. And so a lot of people go there through Wellsford and through our old farm to reach the beach, to reach the summer holiday spot. And so my little old town was a place you mostly went through or stopped off for refreshments. And amusingly, I was looking up the website, our New Zealand tourism website, and it refers to as a place to stop and get a refreshment. Nothing else about the town. It was also a place where many decided to leave. Look, if you wanted to advance or get a better education or a different type of job other than farming, then you had to leave. And it's like many towns, functional, average, and a place that you can say you've been through but you didn't stay. Some places have a reputation, and some people have a reputation too, and unless you truly get to know them, the reputation stays undisputed. You've heard all the news stories, the biased opinions, and you wonder if anything good can come out of this town, this person, this experience. And maybe you're the one with the reputation and others have made a judgment about you that nothing good can come from you. Perhaps you have made that judgment yourself. Perhaps it's something that has happened to you and you believe that nothing good will come out of it. Well, I'd like you to think about one of the smallest towns you know, one that is way off the main road, and people may not know about it, but they've never been there. They may know about it, but they've never been there. And in never knowing more than the name, it kind of remains unknown. And so we come to this little town, this little hamlet called Nazareth. And that town in Israel didn't even make it into the first part of the Bible, the Old Testament. There's no mention of the place. Nothing until we find Joseph and Mary returning to the home with baby Jesus. But that is the town that Jesus was raised in. Hometown to a few families eking out a living, including carpenter Joseph, his wife Mary, and the chip off the old block, Jesus. Talk about keeping a low profile, eh? God was living in Hicksville, but maybe that's the way God likes it. And then when, 30 odd years later, when Jesus comes onto the scene, makes his debut into the world, more than a few people were surprised to hear of his background. Does Jesus have credibility? He was brought up in, where? Nazareth. Where? What? And Nathaniel was actually one of them. And the story goes when Jesus was sort of getting his followers together, that one of them, Philip, he went off and found his friend Nathaniel, and he said to him, "Hey, dude," by my version, "I have found him about whom Moses in the law and also the prophets wrote about, Jesus, son of Joseph from Nazareth." And Nathaniel said, "Can anything good come out of Nazareth?" What? Nazareth? Can anything good come out of that place? And Philip said to him, "Come and see." And that's from John 1:45, my version. Place yourself in the sandals of those in the conversation. Here was Philip, passionate, excited about what he had discovered. And then there's Nathaniel, dubious, dismissive, both in that sort of playground of the discount. Look, you see them all the time, don't you? That absolutely enthusiastic salesperson, the Philip or the Phillips, and they're shouting and celebrating this wonderful offer. You wonder if this could be true. And the invite is to come and see and buy. Exchange something of value, your time and your money, for the opportunity to be part of something, to get that thing that's just fantastic. But you wonder, is this credible? Is it really that good? Wasn't it made in Nazareth? So you discount it. You actually take the value off what this thing is. It can't be that good. But it's only really until you come and see and experience it yourself that you really make that connection that, oh wow, that actually is good. See, we so often discount what actually needs to be marked up and have added value put onto it. And there's a beautiful gem, a treasure, but it's been devalued by those who don't have eyes to see. I think all of us have a Nazareth. It's a place, a time, a narrative, like a story that we're going through, the story in our heads, that we can so easily dismiss and consider nothing good coming out of it. It could be the town you were raised in. Maybe the parents will lack of. And in your life, that story is where you say to yourself and others, nothing good came from that. And some of the worst Nazareth stories are those where one discounts oneself. Self-loathing, a diminishing of one's own abilities, qualities, a diminishing of your story. And Nathaniel, he discounted Philip's exuberance and testimony. There was only one way to deal with a cynic, and I found this to be true. Only one way. And that was the invitation to come and see. Okay, well, witness it yourself. Make up your own mind. And often I find myself wanting to come and see the one that is discounted. Personally, I want to see the one that's been discounted, the one that others dismiss, the story that seemingly has no value, because perhaps there I can find a hidden treasure or a beautiful pearl. And that's a story from Jesus, like, there's a treasure hidden in a field and a man sells everything to find that treasure. And there's a guy that's found a beautiful pearl and he sells everything to find that pearl, things that other people discount. And you see, when I dig just a little bit deeper into that person's the nuances of the story, I see someone who has a beauty and a purpose that can only come from a place like Nazareth. A backwater and a desert where water and wind have shaped their soul. They will dismiss it, but anyone with eyes to see will notice it immediately. Something divinely good here that is worthy of exploration and embracing. Look, many years ago, I used to sing this song, something beautiful, something good. All my confusion, he understood. All I had to offer him was brokenness and strife, but he made something beautiful of my life. You see, the question is, can anything come out of your confusion, your strife, and your brokenness? I believe so. It happens when we kind of link arms with a fellow outsider from a small unknown town called Nazareth. people who understand the Nazareth story, and we can link arms with them. So, can anything good come out of, name your story? Can anything good come out of it? Can anything good come out of that time, place, or person? Can anything good come out of it? Well, only if we take the risk to explore, and we are invited to come and see. Here's some quotes to consider. Real self-esteem comes from within. It is the existential, spiritual truth that we have value and worth intrinsically because we are here and breathing, not because of anything we have or can do or how others regard us. Terence Real. Healthy self-esteem is an internal sense of worth that pulls one neither into better than grandiosity nor less than shame. I'll read that again, Terence Real again. Healthy self-esteem is an internal sense of worth that pulls one neither into better than grandiosity nor less than shame. Terence Real. David Benner, he says that the self we create is a persona, a mixture of the truth of our being and the fictions we spin as we attempt to create a self in the image of an inner fantasy. Yeah, that's a lot to unpack, but you can come and read it again on the blog. The self that begins the spiritual journey is the self of our own creation, the self we thought ourselves to be. This is the self that dies on the journey. The self that arrives is the self that was loved into existence by divine love. Woohoo! Like that. David Benner. And Dan Allender says, shame causes us to see our identity as flawed, rather than seeing ourselves as having flaws. Good point, Dan Allender. Okay, some questions to answer. Where have you written yourself off or discounted yourself? Number 2, what would it have been like to be in Jesus' sandals and feel discounted because he came from Nazareth? And number 3, what is the true cost of discounting in value what God wants to mark up? So that's my blog post, my podcast, my YouTube, whatever you want to call it, for this week. But I'd just love to hear from you. I really do truly enjoy hearing from my readers and my listeners. They really add a lot to my day when I get a message and inspire me to keep on writing and sharing. So you can email me at barry@turningthepage.co.nz. And if you found this stuff really helpful, can you please share the content with others? I just want to get this stuff out and helping people. And if you'd like to be part of the support team that helps me put this together each week, the funding of it, it's a cost. And you just come over to turningthepage.co.nz/support, and you can see a whole range of options on how to support. So, mostly it's just as cheap as $1 US a month. Can you afford that? Because that will just make a huge difference to me. Hey, until next week, stop discounting yourself. Mark yourself up. Okay? Bye.